Committee on the Chinese Communist Party Chairman, Congressman John Moolenaar. Congressman, great to see you. What do you make of this move against these major, well, they're linked to the Communist Party because there is something called, that we all know, civil-military fusion. Anything that's developed among a private company in China is directly aids the communist military.
Well, you're exactly right. There's really no such thing as the private sector in China. There is the civil-military fusion, and every business is accountable to the Chinese Communist Party. So I applaud this new listing. We should not be allowing these Chinese defense-related companies to partner with our companies, and we certainly shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars to fund countries that could be, as an adversary, working against our own military. And so this is long overdue, but it's a step in the right direction. It highlights areas of key technology, whether it's drones or semiconductors. We shouldn't be allowing our infrastructure, especially our military infrastructure, to be dependent on the Chinese Communist Party.
Congressman, just for clarity, because I think we're all in agreement, it's just a reality that if you want to operate a business, a private business in communist China, you have to do so with the permission and the involvement of the regime. That's reality. But this list specifically is for the CCP military-linked companies. What's the significance of that and the significance of these particular companies being added to that roster?
Well, the significance is that they will not be able to sell to our United States military. So our military will not be dependent on entities affiliated with the People's Liberation Army in China. But the reality is every company in China, because of the 2017 law, the national security law there, is beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. They appoint board members, and if they ever request information, data, technology, they're required or they are considered to be in violation of the law. So it's a right step forward, but we have a lot more work to do. Our committee's been working on this for 2 years, and we're going to continue to highlight these, whether it's human rights abuses, forced labor, or partnering with the Chinese military.
One area of focus, Congressman, of that committee has been TikTok and the espionage tool that it truly is. The Supreme Court in our country, of course, taking up this ban that's been passed on a bipartisan basis, oral arguments later in the week. What's your view on that? Should the Supreme Court uphold that legislation that was passed and signed into law?
I believe it should, and I'm confident it will. I believe the law that was passed in Congress with strong bipartisan support, signed into law, requires that divestiture is constitutionally sound, and I believe the Supreme Court will find that on January 10th. What this does is allows President Trump, who's a great negotiator, to have the opportunity to preserve TikTok, but in a different format. So it's not beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. Because right now, it's owned by ByteDance, which has a direct affiliation with the CCP, and unfortunately can access Americans' data, steal that data. It can also manipulate people through their algorithms. We don't want a foreign adversary having that kind of access and influence in the United States.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Congressman, thank you for being here always.